what story Grandma's gonna tell me today. Good morning, come on in. How is she today?
Well, her infection is cleared up, but she keeps having war flashbacks. She keeps ranting about General Penicillin, whoever that is.
Not again. Hey, Grandma.
Oh, if it isn't my favorite grandchild!
I'm your only grandchild.
My absolute favorite.
So what's been going on with General Penicillin?
I've been trying to warn the nurse all morning, and she just won't listen. She won't listen about the greatest battle the world has ever seen.
What is it, Grandma?
The Great Resistance. It was such a long war. So many had fallen. General Penicillin had won battle after battle, leaving no survivors. And after winning so many battles, the general started to believe he was immune to defeat. But immune he was not. What he did not realize was that he had been leaving survivors. And those survivors rallied. And one day he went to battle, and the enemy was stronger than anticipated. This was his final battle. General Penicillin never returned, for he was the one that was wiped out, annihilated. It was the end. The world was in chaos.
Grandma, what happened next?
Let me tell you. The enemy had won, or so we had thought. They had stormed our lands, taken our crops, our women, our livelihood. But one day, they pillaged the wrong village. His village. Vancomycin had waited for this day. He had been training to take down the most severe of enemies, enemies that had not ceased destruction by any other means. The second the enemy stepped into his village, he tore down their defenses and drove down their walls, making sure they would never recover. Thus ending the Great Resistance! Oh, my hip, I'm not as young as I used to be. I gotta go take a nap.
What?
What she means is, penicillin used to be a great drug until people started not using it correctly, and that led to an antibiotic resistance. So scientists were forced to create a more specific glycopeptide antibiotic called vancomycin. So vancomycin is used to treat more severe infections that had resistances to medications like penicillin.
So what did it mean when Grandma said, tore down defenses and drove down their walls?
Okay, that's talking about how vancomycin stops infections. It breaks down the cell wall and RNA production.
Wait, so vancomycin is a real thing?
Yeah.
Not just one of Grandma's many characters?
Yes, vancomycin is a real thing. It's an antibiotic that's used to treat infections, and it can be given orally or through an IV. But you have to give it really slowly or it can cause side effects.
Like what?
Well, you can't give it to those with kidney problems because it may make them worse. And it can cause permanent hearing loss, hypotension, and red man syndrome, which means that your face and your neck turns really red because you pushed it too fast.
Okay.
So we have to make sure that we monitor their hearing and teach patients to report signs of kidney malfunctions, such as decreased urine output or weird bowel movements, or if they have any flank pain. So these could be signs of kidney impairment. So to make sure that none of these things are happening, we have to check labs such as BUN and creatinine and plasma levels, peak and trough levels, and we have to do kidney and liver function tests just to make sure there's nothing going wrong. So we also monitor vital signs, especially blood pressure, because they can get hypotensive.
Wow, vancomycin sounds really great.
But at what cost? Actually, it's less than $10 per treatment. So vancomycin really is great. But if the infection is less aggressive, then we like to give different antibiotics to avoid unnecessary resistances.
So, like what?
Well, we could give a class of antibiotics called fluoroquinolones. The main difference between the two is that while vancomycin targets cell walls and RNA synthesis, fluoroquinolones target DNA replication. It's normally given for UTIs, lower respiratory, bone, joint, skin infections, stuff like that.
So you said some bad things happen. I think you said side effects?
Mm-hmm.
Some bad things happen when people take vancomycin.
Right.
So what bad things or side effects could happen when people take fluoroquinolones?
Well, a few common side effects are GI and nervous system toxicity, or insomnia, mood swings, or a big one would be tendon rupture. That one's actually considered a black box warning. So we have to be really careful and make sure that our patients report any symptoms of pain or swelling in their major tendons.
Wow, that sounds really painful.
Yeah, it's kind of a big deal. So.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Do you have any other questions for me?
No, I don't think so.
All right, good deal. Okay, I'm going to go start lunch now, so I'll see you in just a little bit.
Thank you for explaining that rather interesting story from my grandmother.
All my stories are interesting. What are y'all talking about? You and your kids and your nonsense and your flowers and your quitting loans. And you know you can't quit a loan, right? And flowers. And back in my day, we didn't lie like this. We just told the truth and nothing but the truth.
Thank you for having me today. I'm going to leave now. Thank you for your story.
Story? It was not a story.